Well, hey guys, this section on our course is going to be all about something that I call being too fancy. And this is kind of goofy. I'm going to just follow along with me here, and I think this is going to be really relevant. And I'll cut to the chase. What the end of this is this is all about making sure that your website and your marketing is really clear in order to hook basic, simple tax return inquiries. Okay. So the idea here is that while we're doing all of this conversation about, man, you better make sure that you're pricing yourself as a valuable asset to help people do the three things to reduce taxes, serve as a staff employee and save them time and keep them compliant, or whatever other value propositions you want to bring. You got to remember that one of the things about entrepreneurs and business owners in particular is that they get really cynical. If they come to your site and they think, boy, this is too much, they're not gonna like it. So I'm gonna tell you there's some psychology behind this. I think this is gonna be really relevant. Again, as you're doing your own website, or if you're having us do your website, we want to make sure that we're communicating these main value propositions to them, but we also want to make sure that we're not portraying anything too fancy. So here's my story. Back from 2004 until 2011, I used to work at Best Buy. And at Best Buy, I was the computer sales guy. It was like the most complicated sale that you could do. I enjoyed it. And again, I grew up with this whole idea of value. How do you understand what's valuable to the person or to the customer, whatever that is? And then how do you make sure that you're matching them up and serving as a guide to solve that problem, to connect what's valuable to them with what's valuable in your repertoire, and to make those connections. Again, whenever you're selling, you want to position yourself as a guide. So you're not selling, you're not here trying to get people to buy things, which I didn't try and get people to buy a laptop or to buy a warranty on a laptop or to buy what we called Geek Squad services on a laptop where we made some more money. What my goal was is to help understand who that customer was, how they're going to use their technology, show them kind of the good, better, best, help equip them to make the best decision for them. Sometimes that can be overloading. Sometimes that can be too much information and not enough like just clarity to tell them exactly what they meant. But if you're good at kind of doing this, it's going to work. So long story short, I was very masterful. And I think out of this course, I'm hoping that you get good at this too, at this idea of getting past any resistance. Now at Best Buy, there was a policy at Best Buy. It was called the 10-foot, 30-second rule. If somebody was ever standing by themselves for 30 seconds, we were supposed to go up and engage with them, right? Which sounds really good until you're a customer just trying to like look around and browse, and you have 900 people come up, and it's kind of annoying. But on the other side, if you've ever been in a store and you can't find anybody, that's super annoying too. And not only that, but I knew that if we do, or 10 seconds, 10 foot, if you saw somebody within 10 feet of yourself, you would always go, hey, are you finding what you need? Or can I help you find something? Now, I think asking people, can I help you find something, is a terrible question. In fact, asking them if they have any questions is a terrible question. Oftentimes I just be like, hey, do you know where you're going? Or can I help you find something distinct? I don't know. No, I'm good. Cool. Well, if you need computers, I am the computer whiz. So I'd love to help you understand all that. And appreciate you in here. Right. So you're just trying to do this like little thing. But long story short, people would come in and they'd walk up to the laptop aisle and they'd all kind of do the same thing. So they'd walk in and be like, hey, what brings you in today? You guys checking out laptops or just kind of seeing what's out there? Or can I help you out with anything? So I'd give them always kind of like 3 pivot points. So it's not like, ask them a direct question. It was always like, hey, you guys looking at laptops? Are you just kind of seeing what's out there? Or was there something in mind that you were looking for? Right. So now I've given them pathways. People like to choose things. So for you, whenever you're presenting, if you can do little presentations, giving them pathways like that with a question at the end, that'll allow them to kind of go where they want to. But instead of you forcing them down one path that will like cause them some friction and they won't they feel manipulated. Like you don't want to be like, do you have any questions? Or are you looking for the best laptop? Because I know where they are. Like, no, you give them some different levels of commitment, right? No, I don't want to talk to you. Yeah, I am just kind of looking at them. And now I've given you permission to just look. Or yeah, there is something in particular you're looking for, or have you been shopping? So the idea here is you kind of give them a couple options while you're talking, but they'd always come in and they'd say that I do the same thing. Hey, what brings you in today? You guys just taking a look at stuff? Or you just kicking some tires? Or is there something in particular you're trying to figure out? Yeah, I don't know. We're just kind of looking. So then if they stood there for 3 or more seconds, they start looking at labels. There's only one reason to look at a label. You're either a computer enthusiast or you're going to buy a laptop, right? So then I'd be like, oh, cool. Is there one in particular? Because I kind of know the way all the sales go and everything. But otherwise, if you're looking to buy a laptop, just, you have all these different brands. But the first thing I do is just kind of decide, what size do you like? We got small portable ones, kind of medium size, and then high performance big ones, right? And then if you're doing any gaming or anything like that. So who's the laptop for? And I do this assumption pivot into this question. And it would always lead to the same thing. Well, then they'd confess to you. They've held back, but now you've been so upbeat, kind of not too pushy, but not too behind the scenes. And they'd always say the same thing here in Minnesota. I'm buying a laptop for my daughter, and, I don't want anything too expensive, and really, we don't need anything too fancy. We're just looking for just something that's just right. It's like, well, no, duh. Actually, I'm looking for something that's too expensive, and I'd like something that has things I don't need. You think about that question. But I'm not kidding. It was 40% of the people I talked to would say this exact same thing. And the psychology behind it is that they don't want to get manipulated to buy something they don't want to. They're trying to frame up the fact that I'm just middle of the road, man. Don't push me into stuff I don't need. I've got my guard up, because we all have our guard up, right? Because there's always people trying to manipulate us in sales. And your business customers are the same way. In fact, they're probably more so. If you didn't know this, your business customers are getting calls, both robotic and good, nonstop from people trying to get a piece of them. They're trying to separate them from their hard-earned dollars, right? I get software companies all the time calling me, and all sorts of people approaching them. Business owners get a fatigue there. So now imagine you get onto a website, and the website immediately frames up this grandiose commitment. Not only am I going to do your taxes, but I'm going to brush your teeth for you. We're going to become part of the family. We're going to have the deepest relationship ever. I'm going to help you reduce your taxes, save you time, all that, right? What happens is there becomes a welling up within that business owner that starts to feel like you're pushing me into the premium package, right? So you got to battle that the whole time. And this is something that, as you talk about value and as you talk about these grandiose value propositions, you have to be very cognizant not to push them over so that they feel like you're trying to get them into a premium solution and it's too fancy. Here's what the business owner wants. Just do my taxes. While you're in it, if you find anything that'll reduce my taxes, that's good. I don't know. I don't need anything fancy, but I just need someone to do my books throughout the year. I'm telling you, that's the way they all think. If they don't, they're going to be that $2,500 a month, and you can find them. But what I'm trying to equip you here with is that the middle of the road entrepreneur business owner, right? Where there's kind of two stages. I think there's the individual guys and gals that are subcontractors, real estate agents, they're consultants, they're being paid $10.99, or they're just their own little business. They don't have any employees. That's one side. And then the other side, and that's that's all about efficiency for you. And then on the other side, you have these more complete. They have employees. They have a little bit more going on, right? They might have some AP, AR. They have more employees to run payroll with. Those folks are looking at you as a staff alternative, right? But the idea here is your language needs to always start with the very basic. Hey, I tell you what, we do small business taxes and we do accounting and bookkeeping just to make sure that your books are all set up. But really, what we're all about is kind of 3 things. So notice what I'm doing there. Start with the easiest, okay? Because until you check off those 2 bookmarks of, hey, if you just want tax returns, we only do small business tax returns. We do your personal too if you own a business. And we do bookkeeping. We'll make sure your books are always up to date. And then lean in. But you know what we're really about? We're all about giving you proactive advice through the year. See, when we're doing your books, it's not just some guy overseas. It's not just some person that doesn't know your business. We're going to get really in tune to what's going on in your business. And the 3 things we do is, 1, we're going to show you all the tips and tricks, and we're going to do them for you to make sure that you reduce your taxes as much as possible. Number 2, we're going to just do all the books. So we do the bookkeeping, we do the accounting, we give you reporting. We just make life easy for you. And then we do it better than everybody else. A lot of people don't know this, that we keep you compliant. So we save you taxes, we make your life easy, just doing it all for you. And we're going to keep you compliant because we know how to do it well, right? You can add some variations in there, but you must start with, even messaging wise, somebody needs to get to your website and they need to clearly see what you do. We help small businesses with their taxes and accounting. We help small business owners with tax, accounting, and bookkeeping services. Then underneath that, you need to say, we're one of the best at doing small business taxes, but what we're really passionate about and what's unique about us is that we're not your everyday accountant. We're going to go in and make sure that you pay your fair share in taxes and not a penny more. That's the word I use. You can use whatever you want, whatever that is. But I'm telling you, folks, in our attempt to make sure that we're delivering great value, and I've been listening to some of these guys. I don't even remember what their names are, but Mandy, my friend and other accountant at Own It Accounting, she was showing me a whole bunch of these. What was it? It was like a landing page. This Bobby, I don't know. Anyways, I'll find it here. The idea is they're all about like, oh my gosh, you have to find people that value what you value, and you have to sell based on value, and you need to do this. Well, the first part of this, guys, you got to be really careful that you don't come across as too fancy. You always got to start out with just saying, hey, I tell you what, don't get over ambitious, overly eager, because I'm going to get into the second phase of this in the next video. That first thing is you cannot appear to be too fancy. What you need is just like a fish, okay? If you're fishing and you're fishing for walleyes and you're jigging, you're just trying to present a simple thing and it hooks it, and you can't horse it in. And horsing it in is appearing to be way too deep and I'm guilty of that, trying to be too big of a solution. Their main thing is, I don't want to go to jail for not doing my taxes. I don't want to owe a ton of money. I don't want to deal with this crap. I want someone who will do it for me, and I want it done right. And by the way, I'd like some reporting and some consulting. That's their core necessities. In fact, I'll add on to that, guys. You own the thing that every other financial rep, whether it's a CFP, a financial planner, an investment representative, a commercial salesperson, a P&C insurance salesman, whether they're doing like big in-depth like retirement planning, it doesn't matter what they want to be the tax person, because accountants are positioned as like the number one solver of problems, and they're the authority. They have to do their taxes. If they don't, people throw them in jail, like literally. So you need to at least get them on the hook for small business taxes. Like that's the number one thing. In fact, I would argue that even if somebody comes to you and says, I don't want any of your other services, the one service that I'm okay with you doing is doing tax returns for people that have small business taxes. Where I say, don't say yes to other taxes so that you can focus on the great. Don't say good to just one-off tax returns, because then you can't do the good. I'll hit on this a little bit more, but you should say yes to every business tax client that you possibly can, because they will get to a point where they want more. In fact, if you're good at what you do, your passion and your thrill for helping them maximize their opportunity should lead you to a point where you're saying, you guys, I got to help you. You cannot persist in this. We have to make this better. So again, don't be too fancy. Just whenever you're talking or any of your messaging, it's small business tax returns, bookkeeping, and payroll. You always need to check off, hey, I tell you what, we do small business taxes and we do like bookkeeping and accountant, but really what we're all about is kind of two things. And you can get into however you want to pivot from there. There's probably 10 different ways to do it. What we're really about is two things. One, we give you proactive coaching through the year to reduce your taxes. And we do it for you. Like you don't have to mess around. We just do it all for you. And then number two, we're kind of a one-stop shop where we do all the accounting for you. And every business is different, so we can kind of look at this, but here's what I'd like to do. One, if I could take a look at your tax return, what I can do is just give it a look and find out if there's any low-hanging fruit for taxes. And then I'd love to peek into your account, and I can come back and say, hey, here's some opportunities to save some taxes. And if you wanted us to do your bookkeeping, which we'd love to do, and all your payroll and all that, here's what it would cost. So if you like the idea of that, would you want us to do that? And then, get the tax return. More on that later. But you can't appear to be too fancy. If you're too fancy, they're going to be freaking out and they're not going to want to work with you. So good luck. God bless. Hey, if you need help with this, guys, we can do consulting calls on top of this. and we'll help you do a ton here.